is my Le Mom journal that I use for all of my writing, and I started this in January and it has now almost become completely full. I've highlighted some of the pages that I'm going to show you because I've had a number of questions all about how I use my writing journal, and essentially I just use my writing journal as a place to take everything out of my head and to put it down on paper, because you never know whether that thought might become useful in the future. So without further ado, we'll open it up. There are a few drawings in here, so promise me that you won't laugh. I'm not the best drawer, but I do enjoy doing it. Especially at the moment, we're in lockdown in the UK here, and I just had the urge to get some of my paints out the other day. So this is the opening page of my journal. I've got my little ladybird postcard here, what to look for in winter, because this is a journal I've used from January to the end of March 2020, and like I say, a little doodle here of my chicken. I used to draw these pictures quite a lot in the past, and I used to have chickens, for those of you who don't know. So this is the opening page of my journal, and inside the journal you will see that I've used the different pages for lots and lots of different things. So there might be just some personal journaling thoughts, or there might be ideas for my novel, for my videos, for a blog post, for an essay, for a non-fiction project. As I went through today, actually, with my little post-it page markers in order to show you various pages, I looked at some of the writing and I thought, yes, I could use that for various projects, such as a future essay idea and things like that, but you'll see as we go through. So this journal was started on Saturday the 28th of December, and it was just that quiet time between Christmas and New Year, so I was writing down some thoughts on what I would like for the year ahead. I don't know if any of this makes sense, but it's just me emptying my head of various thoughts. I did think I would do a little list of all the things that I have watched, but as you can see here, we got to the 16th of January and then I stopped filling that in. Then here again, this is just more thoughts, and I'm just writing about my experience with YouTube here. And this is something that you will notice as we go through. I don't actually use my journal as a personal diary in terms of writing about my family or relationships. This is purely my thoughts on my writing, my business, my YouTube, maybe Instagram and things like that, because that is my passion. And it's something that started as a hobby and has become a business, and therefore it takes up a lot of my thoughts, and it's always a constant stream of ideas and snippets and thoughts about it that I just have to get them down on paper. And here, if you can read that, it says novel. So this is just some idea of a scene for my novels, and the same here, the same here. This is all novel stuff. And then here I had an idea for a video about how I was writing my novel for 30 minutes a day. I've written here that I wrote this while at my daughter's netball club, and this is why I carry my journal around with me everywhere, because you never know when you get 5, 10, 15 minutes to write something down, and then it becomes something more tangible, as much as a video is tangible. But you get what I mean. It becomes something that you create. It becomes a piece of content on the internet just from having that initial idea while watching my daughter play netball. And then here I have got some ideas for my non-fiction project, which is something I'm working on at the moment. Again here It was basically some thoughts that I had reacting to an incident that happened to me online, and I thought it might be something I could refer to in my project, and that's why they say everything's material, isn't it? So I wrote down some of my immediate thoughts. And then again here I've got bits for my novel. Again, my non-fiction. And here is just some straightforward journaling. You can see I've put the dates here. I don't always put the date down. Sometimes I forget, and that really frustrates me when I look back and I think, oh, when did I write that? And I have to kind of work it out with dates that are either side on the different pages. Again, here I've got some novel notes, but here is another journal entry on the 22nd, from the 22nd of January. And when I was going through this earlier to put all these little tags in, I thought, oh, this could be a possible subject to explore in a future essay that I do on Patreon. So I'm going to come back to this and see if it's something that I can really explore and give me between 2,000 and 3,000 words, which is what I tend to do with my essays. So I've made a note about that on my desk as well as here in my journal. Again, more non-fiction stuff here. And when I come to work more on my non-fiction project, probably Thursday or Friday this week, I will come back to all of this and kind of collate all the ideas together and to try and make sense of it and see if they all fit together. Here again is some non-fiction, and as I have written here, this is all about self-doubt and how negative comments can really make you maybe alter your behaviour or make you want to retreat. And this is something that I've actually expanded upon in this month's essay that's going to go out today. That's my March essay. A real example of how I use my journaling thoughts and then grow them into something bigger. I've just made some notes on videos here as well. I had some ideas here again for my non-fiction, and I actually wrote down, should I do a questionnaire? And then I started writing, exploring that a little bit further, and then I actually did send that questionnaire out to some of my followers on Instagram. This is when I was starting to think about writing a newsletter again, and I was sort of talking to myself and thinking, well, why did I stop? And just exploring that subject a little bit. And then this actually became my very first newsletter when I rebranded my old one to become what I now call Journal Notes. So again, this is another example of how something that you just throw down, empty some thoughts from your head, and then it becomes something else. Here I just had an idea for a vlog, which I did back in February. And here again, journal notes. This is all to do with my previous newsletter and just trying to sort my thoughts out on how I could progress with it. Then here, this I coloured in and called essay, but it wasn't to start with, it was just some initial thoughts, and it actually became my February essay on Patreon. So about a month ago, this went out, more developed, but this is how my essays start, with just maybe one paragraph like earlier on. But here it's a couple of pages, 4 pages of thoughts, and that became an essay for my patrons. Here, this is just more, just general journaling stuff. Here I've written about energy, creative energy. It's something that I heard the word energy a number of times during the week, and I thought I must write about this because I keep hearing that word. And as I've gone through, again, I've pulled it out as a potential essay idea, one to explore at a future date. Then here I've got a little bit of YouTube video analysis here in order to brainstorm ideas for future videos, and that is one of my big fears, is running out of ideas. So I'm constantly doing this just to reassure myself that I can keep producing videos, because I do have ideas, but I do have to write them down, otherwise I completely forget. This is all about why I journal, and for some reason, I don't know why, but I just started writing it down, and then I did some research, and this actually became a video. I think I was torn between creating a video about it or a blog post, but it did become a video. Then this here, I think I was in the car at school waiting for my children, and I just spilled everything out of my head on an idea I had, and I might turn that into an ebook. I think there's a lot of potential with that. And then here, 10 reasons to keep a journal, and that's related to this, why I journal. I developed this and created what I thought was going to be a blog post, but actually became a video, and I basically read out this as though it was a script rather than typing it up, and that goes on for a few pages. And then here we have some thoughts on another essay, which becomes my March essay, the one that I am sending out today. And this is when I had that very first thought. And you know, when you're trying to think things through in your head, well, I decided to write that down, and by writing it down, it enabled me to process it and to come up with a solution, and that's exactly what I did, and that has led to my essay, which I'm going to send out in the next few hours. And then here, I've written a number of these reasons to be cheerful. I'm not particularly non-cheerful at the moment, but I think it's always a nice reminder of things that are actually going quite well. That's one of my 10 reasons to be cheerful, and I think I've got 2 or 3 more different lists scattered throughout the journal. And then here, this is a video I watched, and it's called Before You Give Up, Watch This by Mel Robbins, and it's a YouTube video about 3 minutes long, which appeared in my search results when I typed in the question, should I give up on my YouTube channel? I'm not going to, but that's why I was having a bit of a down day, and I typed that in, and this video came up, and it was such a inspiring video that I have transcribed it into my journal, and that's exactly what this is. This is what Mel Robbins, the narrator of that video, said, and I've just typed it, I've just written it all down because I just found it so powerful, and it stopped me from giving up, basically. So yeah, brilliant video. I'll link that for you below if you're interested. And then here, this is when I watched a video on skin self-care and some of the tips that were on it, and some different ideas for products, and my skin has been really suffering at the moment. I've had some sort of illness, and it has left my skin feeling really dry and ravaged, basically. So I have done some research, and I did it on this piece of paper in the kitchen, but I decided rather than losing that piece of paper, I'm going to stick it in my journal, and then I will always know where it is. And then This is basically an example of me starting to think more. If you remember a few pages back, I had an idea for an ebook. Now I'm starting to have some more ideas to explore further to do with my blog, where I would like my blog to go, what I would like to do with it, and changing my blog design and different things like that. And then this has led to a blog post idea. And I've also written down here the sort of things I would like to focus on in the future with my blog and my writing, and how it differs to what I put on here on YouTube, and how it differs with my essays and my newsletter as well. So, and as you can see, you can tell we're in lockdown mode at the moment. I was watching an episode of Midsummer Murders, and I was just doodling with a chicken design, as I tend to do. And then later on up here, I was experimenting because I knew I was going to film this as a flip through, and I thought, well, how does this paper stand up to watercolour paints for those who are interested in doing that? And honest answer is pretty well. It took it very well, you know, no bleed through onto the other side. And this is just me writing down some YouTube ideas for future videos. I've got a few more empty pages which I will fill in over the next few days. Another blue one there, so I've got a green one and a blue one, and then that pretty much is that, a completed journal. I'm rather pleased with that. I think there's something rather special about seeing a journal that's fully finished and used and battered and has got various scribbles on each and every page, and I think it's definitely something to treasure, but also something to use. There's a lot of information in here that I will be using for sure over the next few months. So it's not one that I'm going to store away. I'm actually going to keep this on my desk and refer back to it when I do my different projects. And that is very similar to, this is the journal that I was using before this one. So I've now got both these journals with lots of different ideas in for projects. And that just brings me to this journal, which is my brand new journal that I'm really excited about starting. I've never used this brand before. It's called Perfectly Penned. I know some people don't like the logo on the front cover, but that doesn't particularly bother me. I have got a postcard because it's going to be spring when I use this notebook, and it's another meaty notebook. It's in the size I like. It has lined pages, and it also folds flat, look, which is something that I really like. I think, let's have a comparison here. The line distance seems to be about the same. The paper here seems to be a lot lighter. This is probably a little bit creamier. You probably can't pick that up on camera. But other than that, they are the same size. And this one did have a little pen holder that came with it that you could fasten to it, but my puppy got hold of that and it's now got teeth marks in it, so I won't be using that. But it does have the little pocket at the back there and a couple of the bookmarks. And this one also has page numbers, unlike the Le Mans. So yes, this is going to be the notebook that I start conveniently tomorrow on the 1st of April. Looking forward to that very much. So that's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed this little flip through of my completed writer's notebook. Thank you very much for watching. Click on that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. Click on the thumbs up, all that different stuff. And I will see you again next week for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Bye.